Jean shirt on, part 4 is here. Hello guys, one more time and welcome to Ring Royalty. My name is Alexis, as you already know, and today we're going to talk about cancelled storylines one more time. Part 4 is finally here. I've done my research because I need to study to do this, and I'm ready to bring you 5 new stories that were cancelled. Let's remember the drill very fast if there is someone new watching. First, we're going to mention what was this cancelled storyline. Then we're going to mention the reason why it was cancelled, if it is known. And finally, we're going to talk about a little bit what could have happened if that story was included on the show. Without further to say, let's start with the video. The first story I want to talk about is Becky Lynch against Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. This year at Money in the Bank, as we all know, Nia Jax participated in the ladder match, but that was not the original plan for her. She was supposed to be the #1 contender for Becky Lynch's Raw Women's Championship. The original plan was for Nia to challenge Becky and be defeated. Becky was going to retain. We already talked about what could have happened in the Money in the Bank ladder match. The video's over here in cancelled storyline number 3. Shayna was supposed to become the Miss Money in the Bank 2020. It didn't happen, but Jax wasn't even supposed to be in the match. She was supposed to have a title match. Becky was going to retain anyways, but it could have been an interesting match because ever since Nia Jax broke Becky Lynch's face, if you think about it, they haven't faced each other in a one-on-one match. It would have been interesting to see them final clash for the championship in a pay-per-view. Nia Jax is not my favorite, she's not the greatest in the ring either, but the build-up could have been something very interesting, as we could have get some flashbacks of what happened when Nia broke Becky Lynch's face to fire up Becky even more. I mean, she was kind of losing her straight fire, her main character, but I mean, that could have reignited the passion for Becky, and all of us would have enjoyed to see Nia get her ass whooped and have a competitive match with Lynch. So my take on this, I'm of course happy that Becky Lynch is going to be a mother because that's such a blessing. Although I would have enjoyed to see that match, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Probably lots of Nia and Becky fans would have enjoyed that clash. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I'm still hopeful that when Becky returns, somehow they're going to manage to do that match, because it would be a huge missed opportunity to scrap that match completely. Storyline number 2, very controversial one, back to 2003. We're going to talk about Sable Kiss My Ass Club. Right. So, this was back when Sable returned to the WWE after a hiatus, and she aligned herself with Mr. McMahon. Let's remember that in that time they were against Stephanie McMahon, and Vince McMahon has been popular in men's wrestling, of course, for having this Kiss My Ass Club, which was a way to humiliate his opponents by making them kiss his ass on national television. I know, non-PG era was something else. Since Sable was aligned with Vince, what they tried to do is introduce this Kiss My Ass Club with her for the women. Like, the women's roster would be involved in rivalries with Sable, and the losers, the ones that she defeated, the ones that she had a grudge with, would sooner or later end up entering Sable's Kiss My Ass Club. The first original victim or the first one to join that club was supposed to be Stephanie, as they were having the rivalry in that moment. The reason why this was scrapped is unknown, and the only proof that we actually have that this was a thing was at the live event when Vince McMahon announced the Sable Kiss My Ass Club, and he even kissed Sable's ass. I'm gonna leave a picture of that in this video. I am not sure how well it would have worked. I'm not saying it was a bad idea, because it would have been something fresh, something we haven't seen before, and of course we're not going to see now. But back then, I guess it wasn't that far-fetched to think about it. I mean, like, a lot of edgy things happened back then, and this was basically just one more stripe to the tiger. In my personal opinion, I think it would have helped Sable's character a little bit more. She was already despised by the WWE universe, but that could have had a new level of hatred between her and the fans. She was supposed to be this monster, this master heel that was aligned with the boss just to get what she wanted, to get her career ahead, and basically sink or destroy anyone she wanted. And I'm gonna stay neutral on this one. I don't think it would have been something marvelous, but it wasn't the worst idea they've ever had either. So what do you think about this Sable Kiss My Ass Club? Leave that in the comments. Storyline number 3, and we move to TNA Impact. We're going back to 2017 and we're going to talk about Gail Kim defeating Taryn Terrell at Bound for Glory. For the people that don't watch Impact, Bound for Glory is like the WrestleMania of Impact Wrestling. And this was a huge deal because Taryn Terrell returned 2 months prior to Bound for Glory. The drill was, Sienna was the Knockouts champion and she was supposed to defend her title against Gail Kim, Taryn Terrell, and Allie. 2 weeks before this monumental pay-per-view, Taryn Terrell was released. That shocked lots of people, including myself. Like, I love Taryn, FYI. But anyways, something that really shocked me was that Taryn was such a good character when she returned, and she was having this rivalry with Gail, and they were both into the title match at the biggest stage of them all for them. It seemed really odd. The reason why this happened is because Taryn Terrell is the former wife of current WWE champion Drew McIntyre. Terrell has an assault charge on Drew when they were together because of domestic violence. Therefore, Taryn Terrell was banned and she could not get into Canada. And that was a big problem, not only because the pay-per-view was there, but because the next set of tapings was supposed to be held in Canada too. So Taryn Terrell wasn't going to be in any of them, and that was about 2 months of TV shows. That was a massive problem. That's why both Impact and Taryn agreed part ways and give her release. It was such a shame that this happened because Gail Kim won that match in the end, defeated Sienna, and retired as 7-time Knockouts champion. Very similar to what Trish Stratus did a decade earlier in WWE. But for me, it would have been more monumental if Gail defeated a long-time rival like Taryn Terrell in her retirement match. Taryn was not able to be at the taping, and that was the reason why that Fatal 4-Way match became a triple threat. And well, you know the rest. The rest is history. Gail got a big pop when she won, but once again, it would have been bigger, probably, if she was pinning Taryn and not Sienna. Fourth storyline, Stacy Keibler as WWE Women's Champion. Interesting. So this is a cancelled storyline that I really find interesting. What's the reason? Back in 2004, Stacy Keibler was massive with the crowd. She was extremely popular, and the WWE management wanted to make Stacy the women's champion for obvious reasons. Now, as marketable as she was, her in-ring skills were very poor. She wasn't a wrestler, she was a model, but she had a good character, and that's what people mostly remember from Stacy are segments rather than matches. Whereas a lot of women in the roster like Jazz, Gail Kim, Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, and Victoria were real wrestlers, were super technical, and that was the golden era of the women's division for a reason. They all were great. The cancelled storyline here is WWE management decided that Stacy Keibler should win the Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royal at Taco Tuesday on October 2004. Stacy talked to management just an hour prior to the show to tell them that she didn't earn or she didn't deserve to be champion when we have lots of real wrestlers in the roster. And for me, that shows how humble Stacy Keibler really was. She was a down-to-earth girl. She didn't believe she was a superstar, even though she was, and she decided to refuse the women's championship. I would have loved to see Stacy Keibler as women's champion, I'm not going to lie. I am aware that she wasn't the best wrestler, but I think she was character enough to hold onto the title and at least have a short reign, maybe 3 or 4 months. It takes a lot of courage and actually have zero pride to reject being a women's champion in the biggest world entertainment wrestling company in the world. So Stacy, you really are one of a kind. I doubt any other woman would have actually rejected the title. So I just wanted to tell you all of that and how proud somehow I am from Stacy for knowing her reality and not taking advantage of the fans' support just to get her career ahead. I know it sounds a bit contradictory to what I just said because I really wanted Stacy to be women's champion, but what she did was just spectacular. The final storyline I'm going to talk about today is going to be Summerslam hair versus hair match. As you all know, WWE advertised Mandy Rose against Sonya Deville at SummerSlam in a hair versus hair match, which was changed last minute to a loser leaves no disqualification match. A lot of people were complaining why they're changing it. Lots of people were confused because they didn't know if it was a hair versus hair / no disqualification / loser leaves. That was a lot. I've already talked about this match in detail. In this video over here, it was my SummerSlam review where Mandy defeated Sonya and Sonya Deville is gone from WWE. Now, something that I want to point out is the reason why this was cancelled. The reason this was cancelled are the real life events that happened in Sonya's life. What was that? She was trying to be kidnapped by a fucking weirdo and creep, and that would have scared the shit out of anyone. Okay, so now that we know that background, Sonya's lawyer told her that it would look terrible for her to be in court bald. I mean, that was a serious issue, so she needed to be presentable and she needed to actually focus more on her real life than what was happening on the show, which is completely understandable. That's why they needed to change the stipulation to a loser leaves WWE match. I'm pretty sure Sonya Deville is gonna be back, so don't worry about that too much. But my opinion in this final storyline is that the hair versus hair match could have been something unique. I'm not going to deny that, of course not. So, was it something refreshing? Yes. Was it the only way to finish the rivalry? No. I know I criticized that match a lot in my review, but that's because we all had high expectations. I said I was going to give them a pass because everything that was going on in their personal lives, because Mandy was there when that incident happened. I still think if it was a hair versus hair match, it wouldn't been the 5-star match everybody wanted to see because their heads were somewhere else, which is completely understandable. So I'm not that upset that the hair versus hair match was cancelled. I think loser leaves is also a very nice stipulation. And tell me what you think down below. Would you have preferred to see this hair versus hair match? Or were you just happy that it was a loser leaves WWE? Keep in mind that probably Sonya is coming back, so don't feel bad for her. And yeah, so yeah, that was all I have to say for this cancelled storyline. Okay, so these were 5 more cancelled storylines. If you like this type of content, please let me know in the comment section. Also, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We're growing so fast. I swear that I cannot believe this is happening right now. I know sometimes I am taking a little longer than usual to upload videos, especially last week and probably this week too, but it's because life been going right. So my life is crazy at the moment, so I really hadn't had much time to edit. I'm sorry for that, but I'm still trying to keep my content fresh, trying to get new collaborations, trying to get new topics into the channel for all of you to enjoy. Thank you one more time. My name's Alexis. Here's my Instagram. If you want to follow me, you already know that. I've already received some messages from some of you, and that makes me very happy too. And I will see you guys next week. Please stay safe, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.